Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. I have this super derpy plastic bear that I'm not sure where I got it from, and I wanted to paint it up for a cool enemy for tomorrow. I had a couple things I wanted to do for tomorrow. One of them was a nest, and this was one. So I didn't know I had a bear just as derpy as this, but it's perfect. I just wanted to make a gross, disgusting, kind of naturey, evil creature, and bears are always good because just generically bears are, stronger, faster, semi-impervious to, a lot of simple damages. Like if you throw rocks at a bear, they're not really going to be interested or care about that. So I thought this bear would be a cool enemy that I wanted to do. Now, I have done a little bit of weird stuff to my bear. I have put some patches of super glue on him with baking soda, and I have hit him with a wire brush a lot to give him a lot more texture than he had and to hide some lines and stuff that I didn't like. But in general, he's just a derpy bear. So I'm starting with my favorite color in the world, pavement. And I'm just getting a kind of half-assed base coat on him, a pavement to lighten him up a little bit. Then I'm going to be using pewter after that. First, let me dry him off. Now he's pretty dry. I'm going to get something I can use to dry brush him. I'm going to get a piece of cardboard. I'm going to get some of this pewter. I'm not going to be doing a really thin coat. I'm going to be doing something kind of medium. So when I say dry brush, I don't really mean dry brush. I'm just not getting down in all the cracks, and I'm not putting an enormous amount of effort into this layer. Some of that black should hopefully be showing through, and that'll create a bit of an interesting undercoat. Usually I would do something like this, and I would dry brush it white before I even started and use lighter tones. But for this, I want the inside to be dark, and I don't want to have to do a wash. So, as you can see already, we are getting into the nitty-gritty and lightening him up. There's a little bit of his, where paint didn't stick to that ear. I should have burned him a little bit before I painted him. I didn't do that. But in theory, I'll be able to cover that up. Okay. Now I'm going to set that brush off to the side. I'm going to hit him with the air gun again real quick. I'm going to get a lighter gray. This gray is the elephant gray. And it's not really significantly lighter than that, but it's a little bit lighter than that. So then I'm going to get my elephant gray on my brush. And I'm going to spottily patch him up in some lighter spots. I'm going to get one more lighter gray than that. This is called country gray. It's very light, and I'm going to mix it with my elephant gray in my brush to make sure it's not too light. Okay. Now I'm kind of hitting them a little bit everywhere on the back side, a little bit less so on the front side. Okay. And then I'm going to leave him alone. I'm going to come back with a fatter brush. I'm going to do his base. And I'm going to do his base in burnt umber, which is a dark brown. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get any on him. I just want to get it on the base, and that's it. This base is just a poker chip. Okay. Once I'm pretty happy with that coverage on my base, we're going to hot air gun that. Then I'm just going to use any kind of plastic bristle brush that's soft with a little bit of a lighter brown. This is a synthetic brush. I'm just getting a bit of a lighter brown on there. Wiping a lot of that off of my cardboard. Then I'm just going to drag it around and lighten up that base in some spots so that when I come back and use flock over any of the spots, the ground isn't monochromatic. Now I'm getting white. And a very teeny brush, I'm going to do his eyes. Can't get her to focus. There you go. In that same brush, I'm going to use some black. I'm going to do his exposed claws, which there are not many. Oh, he has. You can't even see him after the way I did that. Okay, so I'm going to do his nose. Just like that. I'm just going to simulate his claws since you can't see him with some little black lines on any of the little 3D spots I can find. And I'm just going to do the same thing on his little feet. Just going to simulate claws with some black lines. Okay. Now I'm going to go on a search for an epic lid of a container that I can use to mix a little bit of green. And the green I'm using is called English Ivy green. I'm just getting a little bit of that in there. I'm getting a small brush. I'm using a size 1. And then on the spots where I have this mossy, moldy kind of thing I did with super glue and baking soda, I'm just painting that a mossy, moldy green color, just like that. And I don't want to use so much that it's a nuisance. Okay. And then if there's any weird spots you don't like, you can put that there too to cover those up. Like there's a weird, I hit some brown on him there. I'm just going to touch that up, drag that along. There's a little bit there. Make sure you come off the edges of any 3D raised spots that are weird. I could have swore there was another patch I did that at, but maybe I didn't. Okay. Then we're going to dry that off. And I'm just going to use my hot air gun for that. Now on the eyes, I want to do like a purple color, I think, or maybe a green. I haven't decided. I'm thinking purple. So I'm going to get a little bit of the speed paint real quick. This is called a Hive Dweller Purple. And I'm going to use that small brush. Cover up that white real quick with that speed paint. Then I'm going to get a piece of fabric and dab that off. To lighten it up a little bit. Okay. Something like that. Then the last step is I'm going to get where I put that green on him. I'm going to get a little bit of a brighter green. And a synthetic cheapy brush. I'm going to wipe almost all that off so there's nothing really left on it. I'm just going to dab around a little bit on that green, just like that. And if you go a little bit outside of it, that'll be okay. So I'm just making that a little brighter in those spots is all I'm doing. And I didn't want to do a wash on this, but I'm starting to think he would look really good with like a disgusting green wash. I'm starting to think that, but I don't want to go there. All right, you've convinced me too. You've convinced me that it is a necessary step. So this is called Military Shader. It's an Army Painter product. And I'm just gonna do my bear with this real quick everywhere. And if I get a little bit on the base, I am not gonna sweat that. It's not gonna be an issue. Okay. And we wanna make sure we get in all our little cracks with that. Okay. And once we're confident that we've done that, I'm going to get some fabric and I'm going to dab around some of the deeper spots on his face and some spots where I feel like there's just a bit too much that I can't wipe around and get rid of. Just like that. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's get some clear glue. Let's add some flock to the base. I don't want to go overboard with this, so let's just get a little bit there. A toothpick. Where I had these slots, where you can see the slots of the coin, where I didn't hide those well with my super glue and baking soda. I'm going to hide those with flock. And the spots where I did okay, I won't. Okay. For flock today, we're going to use our friend dillweed. Okay, I'm just going to fold this in half and deposit a fair amount of that dillweed back in there. I have a buddy named Sweeney. He's a dillweed. Now, there's some little spots that I don't like, where there's some dillweed on my mini. I'm just going to get a toothpick and pluck those off Some of those I might wait till it dries to grab them, but some I'm just going to hit now. I really don't care if there's dillweed on my mini. There's a lot of dillweed in his crack here. You don't want the dillweed in the crack. So there you go. Pretty basic, pretty simple, but it'll sell what I need it to on the table quickly. Now, normally I would go around the outside with black before I flocked it, but I forgot to. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, and all the happy crappy that helps the channel grow. Also, check us out at www.dungeon-swag.com and our Discord. Those are all linked in the description, as well as a discount code and a link to the entire 3.5 Monster Manual 1. Handcrafted here on the YouTubes. Now, when this guy dries, he'll be a little bit shiny because of that military shader, and the simple solution will be to make sure you brush off any of the little extra dillweed you don't want on the body, and then hit him with a clear coat. I just use a ×2 clear coat that matte clear coat that I get from Wally World. You can get one anywhere though. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.